The heads of the world's 20 biggest economies have gathered for 2 days of talks at the G20 Summit in Rome. Climate change, economic recovery and COVID top the agenda as many of the leaders prepare to fly to Glasgow for COP26.
Arriving to take his place on the world stage. Greeted with smiles and laughs from the French president, but no brushing past their escalating diplomatic row over post-Brexit fishing rights. All against the backdrop of the Colosseum, the most famous of gladiatorial rings. This a Prime Minister in battle over climate change and trade. Are you on the cusp of two trade wars, one with the EU over Northern Ireland border and one with the French over fishing rights?
If another European country wants to break the TCA, then the Trade and Cooperation Agreement, then obviously we will have to take steps to protect UK interests.
Steps which include taking legal action via the EU to impose sanctions, demands of compensation and even suspension of the UK's Brexit trade treaty. Are you going to launch a dispute settlement with France next week?
If there's a breach of the treaty, or we think there's a breach of the treaty, of course we'll
do you think there's a breach of the treaty?
We'll do what's necessary.
Do you think there's a breach of the treaty?
We'll do what's necessary to protect British interests.
But you're not ruling out that you might trigger the mechanism next week?
No, of course not. I don't rule that out.
Do you think there's been a breach of the treaty?
I'm worried that there might be. I'm worried that there might be, and I'm looking at what's going on at the moment, and I think that we need to sort things out.
So you can't rule it out that you won't trigger that mechanism next week?
That is frankly small beer or trivial by comparison with the threat to humanity.
The pair spotted again heading to a meeting on Iran. A thumbs up from the PM, conversation had. Despite the war of words in the media, in person it's pats on the back. But rows with allies unhelpful when the PM's fighting a losing battle with other global powers over climate change commitments. The challenge clear.
The whole of humanity, Beth, is in the ring. And the foes of humanity are apathy and political indifference and lack of will and people's excessive caution about what they can achieve. There is a chance, if everybody puts their minds to it, that we can get an agreement that will allow us to restrain the growth in temperatures. We're not going to stop climate change, Beth. We're certainly not going to stop it. We're certainly not going to stop it at COP.
I mean, do you really think it's still 6 out of 10 chance of getting this done?
I think it's going to be very difficult. But what I hope we can do.
Do you still think 6 out of 10?
I think there's a chance.
Climate change so difficult that meetings with the European Commission these days come as light relief.
This was for where they could flood it, couldn't they? They could do it. They could do everything.
Yes.
But the hard reality is that days are numbered to land climate change goals. Commitments needed now, and he knows it.